Good morning, guys. This is a video that I was led to do this morning after my Bible study. I wanted to share the good stuff that I had read about, So here I am making a video. I ran out the house and went to Starbucks to get me a coffee and to wash my car. I just feel so comfortable making videos in the car because if I'm at home, my girls would probably come in the room and not necessarily stop me from making a video, but they would distract me. And I know that sometimes when there is an important word going forward, the distractions will come. So this is like my way of reducing the amount of distractions. So here I am. Good morning. So this morning I went to do just a little quick devotional because I was like, okay, I'm gonna get up, I'm gonna do all of the things that I need to do to be productive today, right? Because I'm a lollygagger, and guys, a disclaimer, these are my rubber bands for my braces. It's not excessive saliva or anything like that. Stay focused. Because I hate wearing these rubber bands because it does look like, but that's not what that is. This ain't that. So just letting you know before you get distracted and don't listen to anything I say in this video. Anyway, so I woke up to do my little devotional and I couldn't find my normal Bible, which is the Bible that my grandmother used, and she made notes in it. And sometimes I'll look at her notes, compare what I got out of the scriptures for what either she received at church or what she received at her study time. So that Bible I could not find today, right? So I'm like, where is the Bible? And I've been reading it very frequently for the past couple weeks, bringing it to church, everything, all the things. So I'm like, where is that Bible? So anyway, didn't find that one, but I do have many copies of the Bible, but this is the one that I was led to look into this morning. It's the Women's Study Bible by Thomas Nelson, and it's in the New International Version. I had this for a couple years now, about 5-6 years or whatever, but it's a really good book. I mean, a really good version of the Bible. So as I was reading my devotional from one of my normal devotional that I read every morning, I saw some scripture, and the scripture was from John 5. And as I was a little bit confused as to the actual scripture that they pulled from, so which made me curious to go to John 5 to see, okay, they pulled a scripture that didn't give a whole bunch of context. It was just basically saying that God is, in so many words, I'm going to paraphrase it, but it was basically saying that God has equipped himself with whatever he needs, and also he has equipped us with what we need. In so many words. It doesn't say that in those words, but when you sum it up, that's what it is. But the way that it was worded, it really confused me. So I was like, okay, well, let's go and see in the confines of what they're talking about. So go to John 5 and realize that it's the passage of the healing at the pool. And if any one of you are familiar with the healing at the pool, we also refer to that as the man at the pool of Bethesda. So I got interested, because I've heard this passage preached so many times over the years, from a young child up into an adult, and I was just interested. And my devotional today was just basically talking about being very expectant of God to work a miracle, or God to move in your life, even when, in the past he had not moved in your life. or you were expecting and nothing happened at the time. So I went on to read, and I'm reading. And in the beginning, I asked the man, do you want to be made whole? Basically, do you want to be healed? Because as God walked up, he, had all of these excuses as to why, oh God, I'm right here near this source of healing. However, I can't be healed because X, Y, and Z. Okay. The reason why I felt the need to share this information this morning was because this week I encountered several situations where I was just pondering the thought of how much do we expect others to help us when we're not helping ourselves. And as those situations unfolded, it was mind-blowing at how many people are angry or resent someone for not helping them, and they're not helping themselves. My dad, who is on my little necklace, he's always with me, my little bestie. He always had this thing, like, people think, or people said that I, was very spoiled by my dad, and to some degree I was. However, as I got older, my dad began to put certain responsibilities on me. As a child, he protected me from much more than he protected me from as an adult, right? And I appreciate him for that, because had I been very spoiled and not able to manage life on my own, when he stopped being able to protect me and when he stopped being able to guide me, I would have been lost, right? So while I was a kid, he babied me and basically, did all the things that a daddy's girl would experience. As I grew older, he started to pull back some things, and started to expect for me to be more responsible for my own happiness and my own future, right? So grateful to God for that that lesson that he consistently instilled in me. So saying all that to say, the guy is giving Jesus all of these excuses as to why he couldn't get into the pool, why why he's laying here. Basically what they would call him in the Bible is an invalid. An invalid is basically like a person that can't do much for themselves, and they're in that condition because of health reasons, or because of a very painful situation, right? Emotionally or physically, or however, like you're just not of very much use. So you're laying there as an invalid, and you're basically trying to explain your situation away to God, like, God, I can't do this because this and this happened to me. And God asked him, do you want to be made whole? Like, miss me with all of the crying, whining, and excuses. First of all, I already know about those things because I allowed them. So, like, I just love so I hear God in the way that my personality is. I hear God in the, okay, I hear what you're saying, however, comma, let's get to the solution let's get to the meat of the situation. So he's telling this guy, I hear what you're saying, however, do you want to be made whole? Or basically in the new NIV Bible, it said that he said, do you want to get well? Like, I don't want to hear all that. Tell me, do you want to get well? If you say yes, then I'll tell you how to get well, right? So when the guy obviously agreed with Jesus, yes, Lord, I want to be made whole. But initially he was saying, I didn't have anybody to put me into the pool, so I can't be healed because nobody wanted to put me into the pool. Okay, great. Yes, there are times when people are very compassionate and will put you in places that will give you the advance. However, when you expect that and you become what do you call it? The word escapes me right now, but when you become entitled, and unfortunately this society is very entitled with a whole bunch of things. They think that everything is supposed to be given to them. No ma'am, no sir. You have to work. And the Lord even said, with faith without works is dead. You could have faith, you could talk, and you could pray in tongues, you could do whatever it is that you believe that you should do to walk upright. However, if you don't get up and do whatever, you're not going to have what it is that God says that you should have and that you have the authority to have. So he's basically telling him, okay, cool, I hear you. Do you want to be made whole? So the guy is like, yes. So he's like, okay, cool. Okay, let's put the story of what happened to you behind you. Let's put the story of how you got here, who did it to you, and why behind you. And let us take accountability for what it is that we need to do to get where we need to be. Because we have wasted 38 years waiting, right? So as I went on, I was like, okay, 38 years. I'm like, why? You know, normally when the Bible mentions numbers, they mean something, right? And so 38 years, 38 years, I looked it up and I was like, okay, what does this number 38 mean? 38 means purification, right? So all of this time you've let the toxic residue of whatever happened to you ruin your ability or your capability to get up and move. And now it's your 38th year, and in your 38th year you need to get up so that you can be purified, so that you may be able to move towards what it is that God has called you to be and the reason that you are on this earth. What we're not going to do is stand by this pool and continue to let another year go by and let another opportunity to be healed go by because you're still stuck on what they did, how they did it, when they did it. Let's move on. Let's clear the slate and let's move on to what it is that I created you for. Okay, I'm not sure who that was for because that wasn't in my notes. However, so 38 years. So I looked that up also, and when I did my research, it said it took 38 years. It took God 38 years to get the people of Israel ready to hear and respond to his calling. So that's one situation in the Bible where 38 years was important. In another situation, not this Pool of Bethesda situation, but the Israel situation, when he went to give directions to the children of Israel, it took them 38 years to even halfway get their act right, so that they could understand that there is a purpose in this situation, even though there's so many things that's happening that may feel worse than where we were. 38 years. So boom, 38 years right there. Then it was another 38 years at the pool. Like, it took him 38 years to realize, like, man, ain't nobody coming to put me in this pool. Let me figure something else out. So when Jesus walked by, he was like, let me ask God. Let me tell God what I got going on, because me depending on somebody else throughout these 38 years hasn't done anything for me. So let me try another approach, right? So also it took the man at Bethesda 38 years depending on man, and man means anything outside of God. You're depending on your money, you're depending on your job, your car, your body, your looks, your whatever it is to get you where you need to be, when ultimately you need to be talking to God about why you stuck. Okay, so 38 years for that. 38 years for him to realize, like, man, sitting here around a pool of Bethesda, which again was also known for a place to all the people who had problems to hang out, right? All of them hung out right there. So number one, he started to realize, like, I don't want to hang with them no more. Hanging with these people who have issues, and they were, issues of all different kinds. They were blind, they were lame, they were paralyzed, so people who couldn't see, maybe nothing was wrong with them physically, to say their body was working, but they couldn't see. So There was people who couldn't see. There were people who were lame. There were people who were paralyzed. There were people with all kind of issues hanging around this pool. And he had been in that pool hanging with all of those people with all of those issues for 38 years, right? And so something in him stirred up and was like, look, this man Jesus, I'm going to try something different. I ain't talking to the people who got the same problems with me. I'm not going to worry about, oh, we all need to get in or hang in with them closely because I can relate to them. I'm about to do something different. I'm about to do something different, and I'm about to go to Jesus and tell him, hey, look, I've been waiting here for 38 years. What's up, Lord? Can you tell me another way? So the Lord was like, oh, bet, sure. I can tell you how to fix your situation because you decided to humble yourself and come to me and ask me, the problem solver, how to solve your problem, right? So he asked God how to basically change his situation, and God was like, are you sure? Like, are you sure that you are ready to be healed? Are you sure that you need to do what it is that are you ready to do what it is that it takes to get you from right here? Because 38 years you've been trying all of this stuff with no return on your investment. So he was like, yeah. So when you do that, when you tell God that you're ready to move from where you are because it's not working, the first thing you gotta have to do is be obedient to what it is that he's telling you to do. You have to let him know that you are willing to be obedient to whatever direction he gives you. Once you tell him, God, I don't know what I'm doing, I'm giving it to you, and he said, you sure? And you say yeah, then when you say yeah, you got to be ready for whatever it is he tell you to do. Sometimes it don't look pretty. Sometimes it look like, Lord, why you making me do this? Because now I look crazy. It look like whatever, but he's going to ask you, are you ready? And if you ready, you better be ready, because it ain't gonna always be pretty how he make you be obedient, or how the things that he tells you to do in order to be obedient so that he can move on your behalf, if you follow what I'm saying. Okay, so basically, number one, you got to let him know that you are eager and you are ready to be obedient so that you can be made whole. He'll send things to your rescue in the form of people. He'll send scriptures. He'll send thoughts. He'll send a verse to a passage. He'll send things at that point to start confirming to you that, yes, okay, cool, you ready? This is what I need you to do. This is what it is. It's gonna start, moving in your heart. And once it starts moving in your heart and you like, okay, well, I think I need to do this. God, what do you say? And he confirms with another word, or he confirms with a person that walks up to you and you're steady praying and he sends an answer right after. Don't be scared. Do what he asks you to do, and do it quickly. Because the quicker you answer, the quicker you obey his command, the quicker he can move you to the next step, right? So after you do that and let God know that you are committed to being obedient and you're eager to be obedient, maybe not excited, but eager, meaning like, yes, I'm ready to do what it takes to get me where I need to be. You act upon it. Like, you start moving. Like, he told him, there were 3 things that he told him to do. And when he told him to take up his bed and walk, he said, rise, take up your bed and walk. Those were the things that he told him to do, right? So he like, if he's laying there paralyzed, it's like, Lord, how am I rise if I'm paralyzed? But again, you're talking to the solver of all problems. If he tells you to rise, get up and go, because apparently he's giving you what you needed to do it, right? You might be weak, you might be shaking, you might be scared. However, once you hold on to whatever is around you or whatever support you have around you, when you get up, your strength is going to increase, because you are looking to him, not yourself. And you're like, Lord, okay, I'm standing up here now. I ain't walked in 38 years. Now what you want me to do? He like, all right, clean up this mess, and clean up the mess might be, stop talking about things that you've been through. Stop harping on it. Stop rehearsing it. So now you're standing up. Stop talking about the things that happen. Stop talking about the people who ain't put you in the pool. Don't be standing up talking about, see, now y'all, I'm standing up and y'all didn't want to put me in the pool, but now the Lord, don't worry about what they're doing right now, because right now you need to be getting your instructions. Like, right now you need to focus. Just rise and wait and clean up your attitude. Rise and pick up your mat, the mat that he was laying on. And the mat was basically supporting him in the mess. So that's the story that you're telling yourself. That's the attitude that you have, like, ain't nobody helping me, so I ain't, whatever it is, whatever attitude you have, that's what it is. So he's saying, take up your bed. We're not doing that no more. We standing up and we're waiting for me to give you instructions. Clean up your attitude, because if you're going to follow me, you need to have a good attitude, because I'm not having anyone follow behind me with a nasty attitude. And that's a whole nother video that I'm not going to do unless he make me. Anyway, so take up your bed, rise, take up your bed, and walk, right? So these are all things that this man hadn't done in 38 years. So y'all really have to read John 5:1-15. If you have not, read the Bible in a long time, or if you don't understand the wording of the King James, get a New International Version of the Bible. It reads very plainly, like a book. Also we Google everything else. Google, when you get to a word in the Bible that you don't know, or you feel like you know the meaning of this word but it doesn't really fit because whatever they're talking about isn't it's weird, because this word, I know what this means in everyday life, but in the Bible sometimes those words mean different things. Google it. Just Google it. A lot of times in the Strong's Concordance, it gives you the biblical meaning for a word that you might be kind of on the fence about, like, I know what this means, but it doesn't make sense in this context. Okay. When you feel the power, and so that's number one, you have to let him know that you're obedient, that you're going to be obedient, right? So when you stand up, you rise, you take up your bed, and you feeling good, because you got to have a little strength to clean it up. You got to have a little strength to clean up your past, right? Or whatever it is that happened that made you bitter enough to lay down and just be like, I'm not doing this no more. I'm gonna wait till somebody come and help me. Whatever that attitude is, whatever put you in that position, you need a little strength in order to be able to clean that up. Rise and take up your bed. So once you start feeling that strength come on, or the power of God moving within you, you have to make sure that you don't listen to the doubters. Because y'all, I can only imagine, he over there talking to Jesus and like, Lord, yeah, I'm over here, it's been 38 years and it's been 38 years and I ain't moved, because my homeboys who said they had my back, they ain't came, and I'm just sitting here, and all the people I didn't help, and all of this that he telling the Lord, and the Lord like, man, look, come on, rise, take up your bed, and let's go. So the ones who've been sitting there with him chilling for 38 years or however long, he's probably been acquainted with them, and they looking like, man, look at him looking over there talking to Jesus. Like he really gonna be here. He been here 38 years. He was here longer than I was. People love to bring up your past. People love to say what's not gonna happen. So when you rise and you take up your bed, you have to close your ears to the doubters. The doubters will always have something to say. The doubters will always want to bring up your past. The doubters will always say, oh, I remember when this and that and the third. But at this point, baby, I'm talking to Jesus. Jesus is giving me instructions. So I did it. Whatever. Yeah, I said it. Yeah, that was me. So what? Now I'm talking to Jesus, because he feels as though I'm worthy enough to talk to me, to give me instructions to clean me up. And he doing it for me. I'm going to do it for myself. I'm helping him help me. Why are you over here in our business? You probably want to be next in line so that you can figure out how you're going to get up and get in this pool after me while you're worrying about what I'm doing. Okay. Another story, another time. Anywho, they want to say, oh, that's just a coincidence. Yeah, he must have, whatever he ate must have gave him strength to get up. Like, he think the Lord really gave him strength to get up and pick up his stuff and clean up his stuff. And, oh, yeah, he must have just be feeling good today. Or you feeling good today, how you standing up after 38 years? Like, they want to make you think that it's a coincidence, that you are experiencing different things, that you are experiencing the blessings of God. Not so. When God speaks, he can make and change any situation. I don't care who it is, especially once you believe. He can say whatever whatever you're going to do, or I can heal you. But if you don't believe that he can, and you don't move and do what he asks you to do, then guess what? The word is just the word. The word is here. It's here. The Bible has been here. But if you don't open it up and put it into practice, then you cannot experience the power of the word. So again, he told him to rise. So, he could have just been like, man, Lord, I ain't been nowhere in 38 years. I ain't left this spot in 38 years. What you mean rise? Like, he could have went back and forth with the Lord. However, he clearly believed that whatever the Lord told him to do, he could do it, right? So he tuned out the doubters. And I'm sure he heard a few chuckles, a few laughs, a few, man, who he think he is, all that stuff that you hear when you start moving, when God tells you to move. It's normal. They did it in the Bible. They're going to do it to you. So don't get discouraged by that. Because if that's all it takes to discourage you, once you rise and start moving and being successful in what God is telling you to do, baby, you're not going to be able to handle it. If you get discouraged by a few little chuckles when you're following the first set of instructions, okay? So block the doubters out. Block them out and walk firmly meaning you cannot be shaken into what God is telling you to move into. So, those were the things that he did. Like, the first two things is he told God, I believe you. I believe you. Whatever you tell me to do, Lord, I'm going to do it. And when he did it, after he started doing it, it looked different from what he normally did, right? It looked different from what the people around him normally saw. So yes, he probably heard people talking about him saying, oh, what they think, what he think he's doing, what they doing, oh yeah, And so again, if you're so focused on what they're saying and not what God's saying, you're gonna miss your whole blessing, right? So tune the doubters out. Tune them out. He walked firmly into what he said, and instead of saying, oh yeah, I think you're right, he said, no, Jesus healed me. Did go get you some. Go get you some. Why you worried about? He did. And so sometimes it takes people to see you moving in your blessing or the newness of what it is that God has blessed you with for a while before they say, you know what, bro, man, she was looking crazy for a minute, but she doing it. He doing it, man. He sacrificed. He put himself out there. He was vulnerable with the Lord to tell the Lord how he was feeling. He put his feelings on the line. And I don't know if I would have did that, but it paid off. And I think it's about time that I get serious. I'm tired of laying here too. So I'm saying all of that to say, don't allow whatever has happened in your past to make you an invalid. And an invalid, again, as I said earlier in this video, is a person who has allowed their sickness or very traumatic things from the past to paralyze them. Or maybe not allowed, but the effects of something that has happened to them has paralyzed them, right? In the Bible, that's what an invalid is. Like, you can't move, you can't do anything. And what really struck me about this word is, I'm like, invalid, I'm like, that's invalid. Like, I read the word, it looks like invalid, but it's the way that you pronounce it that changes the meaning, right? So invalid, if you say invalid, that means that, the person has some type of ailment that has caused them to not be able to be moving. Invalid means that it's not true. Like, you're not real, you're fake, you're phony, you're counterfeit, whatever you might want to call it, right? So listening to your doubters, don't allow them to say that you're invalid, that you're invalid, or however you want to say it, because they're gonna say all of that. They're gonna say, man, he used to be on, an invalid on the corner, or man, he ain't valid, he just, he's just getting up, doing whatever, just trying to try something out or whatever. Don't listen to that, because when you experience the crab in the bucket mentality and you still get out, you know, it hurts. It hurts to see people that you have at some point connected with feel that way about you. However, it don't matter what you feel about me, because I'm not in that environment no more. I don't even care to talk about anyone or anybody's problems. I want to deal with what I'm going through, and it takes all of my strength to focus on the next step. All of it. Like, so much of it that I don't care what you got going on. Like, all of my strength. Like, at the end of the day, I don't even want to do anything but go to bed. Strength. You know, so who said that it was going to be easy? No one. No one. And so you have to know that that whatever someone thinks of you, whether they think that you're an invalid, whether they think that you are emotionally paralyzed because X, Y, and Z happens to you, or you are invalid because you have not had a good character, you know, history, track record, all of that. None of that matters when you talk to Jesus. God can change anything. Once you pray and ask God to forgive you for the things that you've done and the things that you may see that has not been, you know, very pretty, because we all have a past. We all do. All do. Don't ever let anybody bring your past up and make you feel less than a person, because once we get to digging, because if you got a shovel, not the petty side of me, not the Christian side, the petty side of me would tell them, I know how to use a shovel too, but I ain't gonna use it. You know, meaning you worrying about my past. However, we all have a past. Oh, okay. So that puts that nail in that coffin as to mind your business, drink your water, and worry about keeping your past in the past. That's a whole lot of work right there. So that's neither here nor there. So this whole little thing just, it was so good to me. It was really so good to me. And I woke up just to I'm not gonna lie to you, I woke up to say a quick little prayer. Quick little prayer, quick little 1-2 with the Lord. Quick little, you know. But we always want to talk about being real and walking the walk. But are you ready to really walk the walk? Like, are you expecting God just to make a miracle and rain down stuff on you without you getting up, and without you having to face your doubters, without you having to face the pain or the weakness or the strength building of laying there for 38 years and now you're walking? That's still, like, it sounds easy, but in theory it sounds easy. However, if you hadn't went anywhere in okay, y'all, I'm early 40s, and if I stayed at my desk at work for an hour or two, when I get up, baby, I'm gonna be stiff. Like, so ain't no way in the world somebody gonna lay there for 38 years and not have some type of effects of the fact that they were laying there for 38 years. So if you're not willing to feel those aches and those pains of transitioning from laying there for 38 years to allowing God to give you the strength to move to the next step, then you're not worthy of the cause. God tells us, like, yeah, we're gonna have a lot of benefits for being God's children. However, there are a lot of sacrifices and a lot of painful days. However, we know that we are not defeated. We're guaranteed to be covered and protected by the blood. So, you know, saying all that to say, guys, you know, if you stay with me this long, you get where I'm coming from. You have ears to hear. If you didn't, that's cool too. Because you know, at this moment, I'm not gonna say it's not for you. At this moment, it may not be for you. At a later moment, it might. However, I just wanted to share that. Like, I started off my self-care Sunday talking to the Lord, and he talked to me back and was like, you should probably go share this. Go share this. And I'm like, I'm gonna do that. And you know, I'm supposed to be cleaning up. I have a whole list of things that I wanted to do today. Still gonna do them. However, I'm, you know, I'm not going to say I'm running behind because I'm right on time. Basically, I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing. So, if y'all want to go back and read that story in the NIV version, you know, on the Bible app. If you don't have a Bible, download the Bible app. The New International Version is one of the easier versions to read. It reads like regular words to help you understand what is being said. Go back and read John chapter 5 verses 1 through 15, and you know, maybe you may get something different than I got, as far as you may get more information. You may get a revelation about whatever the exact situation that you're dealing with is, if this did not confirm some things for you already. But anyway, that's my time. I'm going to enjoy my Saturday because I did my assignment. I'm like, Lord, I don't have no earrings and nothing. I just ran out the house. I put my watch on. I threw my shoes on, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna get the car washed, and I'm going to Starbucks, and then I'm gonna do this quick little video. And it wasn't that quick, but you know, I hope that it helped you, gave you some things to think about, and you know, gave you a little passage to go read to kind of understand and say, Lord, am I that person by the pool? Am I making excuses? Are you giving me instructions and I'm just still laying here? Okay, so until the Lord tells me to share my Bible study time with you guys again, I am signing off. I'm going to have a great time this day because it's summertime and summertime vibes. Anyway, so have a great Saturday. Talk to you later. Bye.